Welcome back, dear viewers, and you are still watching The Breakfast Show, and in this segment of the program we will talk about the situation in Gaza and the recent developments of Gaza ceasefire plan and the continued Israeli violations. And we are joined over the phone by Ambassador Wafaa Basseem, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ambassador Wafaa. Could you please shed more light on the role of the Egyptian diplomacy and efforts exerted to implement the ceasefire as it entered badly needed aid and work to start executing phase 2 of the ceasefire deal?
Well, the Egyptian efforts at all levels are continuing as far as the implementation first of phase 1 and keeping the fragile ceasefire in place. We know that since the beginning of the ceasefire, at least 250 Palestinian Gazans have been killed, and now they are facing also, besides the Israeli aggression, they are facing the difficulties of a very tough weather that is making the life almost impossible, with losses of people because of the cold, especially elderly and small children, and because of the destruction of the tents that are already completely down after 2 years of being outside outside with the Palestinians who lost their homes, who are moving from south to north. But Egypt is helping also in taking the Palestinians back to their homes from the south, where they have moved during the attritions, and now they are going back to the north through the Egyptian force who is helping in maintaining the ceasefire in Gaza. On the other hand, Egypt has participated in the last 48 hours in the talks that were taking place in Miami, Florida, in the U.S., also with the American envoy Steve Witkoff, with the participation of Qatar, of Turkey, to see how they can consolidate the phase 1, but also to consider how they can start phase 2 as soon as possible. These talks will continue over the next few weeks, as quoted from the official statement that was issued after these talks in Miami. We will see how the deliberations will go on in the next few weeks to start implementing phase 2.
So, Ambassador Wafaa, could you please shed more light on the stabilization force that U.S. President Donald Trump had announced, and the countries that are expected to participate in it, as well as its mission?
Well, many countries in the very beginning have expressed their interest and their willingness to participate in this stabilization force. And they are sort of basing themselves on the general outline and plan as expressed by the Security Council Resolution 28023, which in its operative paragraph have endorsed the American president's plan for peace in the Middle East. Only Egypt is supporting, of course, that force for stability in Gaza, but we need to know, of course, what will be the terms of reference of this stabilization force, what will be its job in particular, how will be the rules of engagement, if any rules of engagement there will be, also how far it will work with the occupational force of Israel, how it will monitor the withdrawal, how it will monitor the return of the Gazans to their own homes, how it will monitor also the borders, what about the crossings. I mean, as a matter of principle, the stabilization force is badly needed. Nobody is against it. Now it depends how will we implement it on the ground, how far it will be armed, to what extent it can use any arm for those who are violating, and at the same time remains the question, would that stability force participate in the disarming of Hamas or no, which is a critical point for many countries.
And Ambassador Wafaa, could you please shed more light on the humanitarian repercussions of hindering of aid by Israel and by the illegal Israeli settlers?
Well, this is a big issue and a very critical issue, and it's becoming, I would say, a tragedy in itself. The point, or the basic point in the beginning of having an immediate ceasefire with all the efforts exerted by Egypt and its partners to reach the agreement in Sharm el-Sheikh was to allow a safe road for the humanitarian assistance for the Palestinians and Gazans stranded in the desert. The point was to be able to open the crossing for people to go back to their own places, but at the same time also to allow for them to come out for medical treatment, for critical medical situations and so on and so forth. And at the same time to allow humanitarian international organizations under the UN system, to allow for civil society organizations that are working in the humanitarian field to get in Gaza and to bring with them everything that is needed now for those people who are dying in the cold, whether food, whether fuel, energy, I mean, whether construction materials, even if light one, to be able to restore the shelters and to create or to bring more tents for people to protect themselves from the rain, from the snow now in this part, and from the cold. The adamant position and attitude of the Israeli occupational force and the Israeli government are blocking the implementation of this important goal of the ceasefire and its first phase.
Yes, I'd like to thank you, Ambassador Wafaa Basseem, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you, Ambassador Wafaa, for being with us. And by that, dear viewers, we come to the end of today's edition of the Breakfast Show. Thank you for watching.